Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Trav Chats. I'm your host, IMCFTraveller, and here with me is my faithful co-host, Jorge. How you doing, Jorge?
I'm doing great, Trav. How are you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. And we are honored this week to have Daddy J from the Inter Miami podcast here with us this week. How you doing, Daddy J?
I am fine. You always make me laugh when you intro me like that.
Well, it's always Daddy J, Poppy J, whatever I feel like. And then we also have on with us good old Mike from the Greenlock Gang. He founded the Greenlock Gang and is easily one of my favorite Inter Miami tailgate hangout spots. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing good, man, but I know you only say that because you're planning to stop by my house this weekend and steal my signed Morgan jersey, and you're trying to butter me up so I won't look when you do it.
Well, I want the Robbie Robinson kit. Let's get that right.
I thought he was going to say
that one you can take.
Such a good friend, and then he's like such a good tailgate spot.
No, I had to turn around and won't dive much into Mike's insane stash of kits, even though I think mine's a little bit better now with my 10 different jerseys. But it's definitely a pleasure to have all you guys on with us this week. And what a week that we've had since we last recorded last week. And Miami since then has played 2 games, seen Lionel Messi debut, and is shortly going to finalize 2 new signings. So I'll start with you, Jorge. What do you think? Let's just go through this past insane historic week.
Yeah, so I guess I will start with the fact that I missed the game on Friday night because I was on a riverboat on the Mississippi in Minnesota and got off the ship just in time to pull up my phone and see that not only did Messi and Busquets make their debut, but Messi really put his imprint on this team and on this league and hopefully on his tenure with this squad with that free kick to win it against Cruz Azul. But Tuesday, I was home, locked in, and was just savoring every moment of that match from the first kick all the way to the final whistle. And it has been a really remarkable run, and it has been a joy, an absolute joy to watch this team do what they're doing right now.
Yeah, that feels great to say, considering just kind of the pain of this season so far, from all the lows that we've endured to now be able to reap all of our patience and willingness to wait out the wait to get Lionel Messi and Sergio Busquets and very soon Jordi Alba and more. And I mean, Friday, you could feel the tension in that stadium as you saw Lionel Messi warming up on the sideline and then putting on the jersey for the very first time and preparing to be substituted into the match. You could cut that tension with a knife with just how excited people were to see it. And then he comes on, plays 30 minutes, and produces a true Lionel Messi moment of magic. And that may be one of the best, if not the best, goal scored at DRV Stadium so far. But Jay, I know you also had to miss being there live on Friday. Tell me, you were watching this on Apple TV, and it was the most viewed match ever on Apple TV and MLS Season Pass. How did that feel, just watching this match?
It was probably the worst FOMO I've had in my life. Outside of buying into some esoteric cryptocurrency that took off that I didn't buy into and advised by some dude I've never met online and regretting that, this was the closest thing I could possibly compare of any event-based items in my life. I was going to get a babysitter on Friday and got a call from the daycare. Chloe was out of town with our son Quinn, so it was just me and our 6-month-old baby Camille. I got a call from daycare that I need to take her to the doctor, so did that Friday afternoon and Realized that babysitter wasn't really an option anymore, and that I was going to watch this from home. And tough. Probably indulged in a little bit too much drink to try and cope with everything. But man, the change when Messi and Busquets came on, it is just night and day. And continuing into this most recent game, it is just an amazing, beautiful spectacle to see. I've seen the sheer joy and emotions on everyone's face. I've seen grown men shedding tears, the most beautiful tears you've ever seen in 3.5 years of hardship and pain. It was all worth it to hang on, and now we get rewarded with this, and it's just bar none. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. It was one of those moments that when it happened, it felt just absolutely surreal. And there's a picture that my friend took because she was taking a video of that free kick. And it was just me with my jaw as close to the floor as it probably could have gotten when that thing hit the back of the net. So it truly just an absolutely surreal moment. And, Mike, I know you were there with me. You were, in probably the best seats in the house. And, you appeared on MLS Season Pass, and you were front and center there. What was that experience? Who did you see? Who did you meet? How does Kim Kardashian really look?
Well, let's start with Kim. Kim looks amazing. I think that there's a whole bunch of talk. She's on a weight loss program that Odexa, I think. She looks incredible. Great for her. Like, I think there's that whole plastic look for her is gone. So leaving I don't want to get too much on the subject, but beautiful woman. It was amazing. Like, we got really lucky. Bought the seats before Messi was announced, so we got to be sitting literally above LeBron James and Kim. The moment that stood out most, and before I get to the moment, was when Ian went down. I had a chance to just look straight at the bench, and I've never seen a bench jump like that. Like, Leo was the first jump. They all jumped when they knew Ian was in trouble, and the camaraderie of the whole team was amazing. And so many people are going to write about Inter Miami and how it's Messi and Messi. They're a team right now. From day one, they're a team. I think that's just the coolest thing, and I think we saw that during the moment. Everyone watched the kick, but it's when they ran when Messi ran, the entire team jumped on him, and he loved it. He was loving that moment. Seeing him run to his family was just amazing. I think I think Jace may said it in another podcast recently. That might have been the first time he's ever gotten to go to his family after scoring a game-winning goal. Like, what a cool moment. Like, every single part of that moment was amazing. Mind-blowing. Just simply mind-blowing.
Being there, guys, what was the build-up like? Because, I mean, watching it back and, and seeing kind of like how the team played in that first half, and then, the beginning portions of the second half, by the time Leo and Sergio come on, they're lucky to be up one goal, right? I mean, it very easily could have been, a 2-3 goal deficit, had Cruz Azul, finish some of those chances, and Drake, didn't stand on his head in the way that he did. I mean, what was kind of the atmosphere like in the build up, given kind of the run of play? Like, were fans getting anxious? Was there disappointment? Like, what was that aspect before our new stars took the pitch and took over the game?
I mean, truly, the tension in that stadium leading up to that moment, it could have been cut with a spoon. The entire stadium from the very first second of that match were chanting for Lionel Messi to come on. And even when Robert Taylor scored to put Miami up 1-0, just before halftime, you could tell that a lot of people there were saying, okay, good, we're up, but we know who we really need, and that Miami had necessarily struggled up to that point, and No, everybody knew that, all right, we need Lionel Messi and Sergio Busquets to come step on this pitch and change the flow of this game. And truly, the second that you saw him put on the jersey and finish warming up, that stadium was on its feet. And I don't think that for the remaining half hour of that match over in the East Stand where I was, anybody sat down. I truly remember for that entire half an hour standing up, which is just insane. I don't think we've ever had that in a match before. So it was just truly insane how anxious and ready people were to see Lionel Messi step on the field. And truly, the second he did, we became a completely different side. And just, even going down quite soon after he came on, Miami completely changed how they played. And, he proved to be the difference.
I mean, I jump in and say, like, the game was 3 30-minute periods. You had the first 30 minutes where Cruz Azul was the better team on the pitch, hands down. Then you had about the next, I'll say 30, I guess it was, with stoppage time in the first half stoppage time. You had where the kind of teams were equal-ish. You had the Robbie Taylor goal, and then you have Messi get on the field. And yeah, Trav, it's exactly as you said. Like, electric feeling the entire time, chance for Messi. And then when he gets on the pitch, you've heard the phrase, like, every time Messi gets the ball, the crowd chants. But until you've actually been in that moment and seen the entire crowd on their feet cheering for Messi before he just touches the ball, literally, if it's a one-time touch, the crowd went nuts. So much energy, so exciting. And it was so much fun, just so unbelievable.
I mean, that really came across, on the broadcast was how the crowd reacted to every touch, to every turn, to every pass that Messi made. Like, I mean, you felt, you could, if you could just take the audio of the broadcasters out and just focus on the crowd noise, I mean, that came through loud and clear. And, we're fortunate enough, with La Familia that, like, there's always a good presence in that stadium, but this felt different through a broadcast. And it really, being able to sense that from 1,000 miles away, like I am, I can't even imagine what it was like to have that in person.
I just want to cut in real quick. The beauty of Taylor having the setup now, we've all seen him score beautiful goals. The fact that he has the setup now is just perfect. I mean, it couldn't have worked out better for him.
Yeah, and I think that's a point that, we want to talk about, throughout this, but, I think Taylor is a player who is benefiting not just from the players playing with him, but also the tactical setup that Tata has put him in. That first goal, he got good service on that ball from Robbie in that Cruz Azul game. But what you saw in the Atlanta match was his ability to combine and play with Busquets and Messi and Joseph in the midfield. And that is all because I think he's found a home in Tata's system. And his role is he's really being given the liberty to play on that left side and cut in and take players one-on-one, which is, we all know, probably his greatest skill set.
And it's
Thank
not
you for
easy
saying that, George, because we had an episode of the Intermind podcast, and then I was a guest on another podcast as well. And the questions were, who is set up to benefit the most from Messi and from Tata? And it seems like everyone's answer is either going to be Josef or Campana. I was pretty adamant that Robbie Taylor was going to be the one that benefited the most, not only because of the players, of the just change and control we're going to have of the quality of passing and service that Robbie will receive, but more importantly, Tata Martino is known for really getting the most out of his wingers. You look back to the glory days with Atlanta, and what he was able to get out of Miguel Almiron is just not praised enough. And now he is having a hell of a career with Newcastle United and is a fan favorite of Newcastle. Actually scored last night in Atlanta, and the fans there still love him. So I truly think that this is going to be a glorious situation for Robbie Taylor, and I think he is going to have the best season of his career. And Fabian shared it was something on his market cap is 800,000 currently, and if he continues to thrive, then we can expect that to rise substantially. The downside of that is that he might get picked up by a European team or a team from a larger league, or he's willing to pay him quite a bit of money. But we need to enjoy what we have now, because in the past 2 games he has as many goals as Messi, and I think he's quickly becoming someone that Messi is seen as one of the biggest threats on the team to score. And it's going to be so fun to watch Robbie Taylor finally get his.
And it's a confidence thing. I mean, it's not easy to be on the pitch with the greatest player of our generation. He came out and he wasn't nervous. He played his game, and he was there for every minute that he was on the field.
He was, and Messi was the first one to come up and hug him after one of his goals. And the problem I think that Robbie's going to have is I don't know if Robbie can score a regular goal. I don't know if he can just get an easy tap in. Robbie wants everything to just be goal of the week. He has so much talent and so much power in his shots that it is just every time he gets the ball in a difficult angle, he's got a high chance of making it. It's insane. It's we're truly blessed to have this current roster, and now we're getting the best out of our players, because we're not only getting the best player of our generation, the best CDM of our generation, but they're really elevating every single player around them, and you see the energy and the intensity of every single player on the pitch. Just it's up so many notches just because of the players they have around them now.
Yeah. And Joe, to your point about confidence, I think one of the things that, for us that have been watching this team and know this roster and know the history and know where players have been playing, Robert Taylor hasn't been playing as a strict winger on a dedicated side of the field for basically 2 years. He's played as a 10, he's played as an 8, he's played as a fullback, he's played as a right wing, a left wing. He's played all over the pitch, and he's basically been used as a utility player to fill gaps because this team has had so many holes. And so I think part of what we're seeing is not just the confidence that he's playing with Messi, but also the confidence and backing from management that they're going to put him in his best position and let him cook. And that's, I think, where a lot of confidence for a player like Robert Taylor comes from, because he's always had that really creative street ball style of play to him, where, as Jay's saying, he can't score a normal goal. All he wants to do is score bangers. And that's pretty much his entire career in an Inter Miami uniform. But having the backing of Tata, at least for the moment, because, we're going to talk about, there are more incoming players and how that may affect the roster. But at least right now, he's building a connection with Messi, and it's clear that Tata, backs Robert to play that position and play that position well. And, Tuesday night was, kind of a payoff of like what that link up can and should look like.
You're 100% spot on. I was at the press conference on Monday with Tata and Robbie, and Robbie was saying, I've been asked to play so many different positions, be that Swiss Army knife, that utility tool, and I'm comfortable in any position. But more importantly, he said, I am just so happy to be starting again, and I hope that can continue, because there were some streaks where he was coming off the bench, and to be a full-time starter again is something that he is just thoroughly enjoying right now. And you mentioned a lot of the skills he has, that street ball style, but he has severely underrated foot skills. This dude has just gotten past so many players by slowing down, speeding up, switching feet, and it's beautiful.
Well, we've all seen Cramachi, and Cramachi is an amazing player, young kid, and you could tell when he's out on the pitch that he's nervous. And Taylor just doesn't have that. Taylor went out there and just balled. He just balled out the whole time.
Correct. That could be an age difference thing. I think we all fully see the potential in Benha, and he'll get there. But yeah, I mean, he's poised. He really is poised.
Yeah, and I mean, I put it out there that, Robbie Taylor, Josef Martinez, and Lionel Messi is becoming the new Neymar, Suarez, Messi that, we saw at Prime Barca. And it feels almost like Messi has handpicked this group and been like, all right, these are the two guys I want to play on the front three with. And these are the guys that I feel like I'm going to connect with the best. And, we've seen that with Robert Taylor, watching Robert Taylor make a, close to 80-yard sprint from box to box and knew exactly where Lionel Messi was going to put the ball for him in Atlanta for the fourth and final goal. And that just shows that they've only been training together for a week and they're already on the same page, if not more than that. So it's just such a special thing to watch. And it's such a special thing to watch a player like Robbie Taylor, who's been here for the lows, and watch him succeed as much as he is now.
It's amazing what can happen when a player gets proper service, and we all knew Messi would be able to provide highly accurate and just beautiful balls to him, and he's going to capitalize on that. I saw a tweet that literally made me laugh out loud, not just the expression, but I literally chuckled, and it was Leo Messi's making Robert Taylor look like Robert Lewandowski.
That is a pretty good one.
And it's true, and he's going to thrive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I fully believe that. So where to now, Trav?
Well, in true Trav Chat fashion, I don't have anything planned. So I think, now let's look at that Atlanta game. Miami comes out and, yes, they beat Cruz Azul and they looked good while doing it, but it still took a 92nd minute absolutely perfect free kick by Leo Messi to win it for Miami. But now, against Atlanta, completely different story. A game that Miami from the very get-go was in charge of. I'm watching this game on repeat in the background right now, and Miami scores, what was it, 7 minutes in? And from there, never looked back. So, what are your biggest takeaways from this Atlanta match?
So, to start, I guess the first 5 minutes were a bit cagey. Atlanta had some opportunities. They had a goal called back. You had the chip that hit the post. Their press, was, pretty consistent, and forcing us to kind of play the ball side to side, across the back line to try and fill space. But as soon as we found the first gap in that, um, we were able to exploit them. And that's that ball that Busquets plays over the top to Messi where, he takes it down, gets into the box, hits the post, takes his own rebound and taps it in. That's the first goal. And from that moment, Trav, and to kind of reiterate what you were saying, that took the life out of Atlanta and it just energized Inter. And there was no looking back from that moment. Then you have the second goal, then the third goal. And Atlanta just didn't seem to have any answers. And by the time, Robert Taylor hits that wonder goal, for his third goal, they were done. We had broken them down and they were looking to go home by, the 40th minute. And it wasn't really a competition, anymore. And the patterns of play, and just kind of the confidence that the team had, that it was just so refreshing to see as a fan that, finally I get to sit and enjoy this game, get to enjoy watching my team play and dominate. We've had very few moments of domination of other teams that we've played over the last few years. To have this happen, this quickly it just was like, I put a tweet out there that just said like, is feels like, and it is like that's what that was. It was for me pure joy in the experience of watching this team play football, and the result could have been 2-0, 12-0, whatever. It didn't matter. It was just watching them play in the confidence that they were playing with, that brought me that joy.
I will say on that play, it was beautiful that Messi, as the greatness that he is, he actually went for the rebound, where most players would just kind of take the shot, hit it off the post, and just move back. Joseph was kind of standing there a little bit, but the fact that Messi like went for the rebound was outstanding. Like that's why he is who he is.
I think he just knew, as soon as he hit it, he, people will peel off. I mean, I think he hit that with his left foot across his body to the right upright, and that's kind of an awkward position to make a strike from, and then to follow into the center of the goal mouth. I think he just knew, his IQ for the game and his
Yeah,
feel for what he does is just so superior that he knew when he hit it, that's coming back.
yeah.
And he was you know, he was in an awkward angle and he still beat the next two Atlanta defenders to the ball because he knew exactly where it was coming to. It was almost
Yeah.
as if he passed it to himself.
It was beautiful. It really was.
And just one more thing on that, you mentioned Robbie Taylor's wonder goal. Shout out Robbie Taylor, goal of the week in the Leagues Cup for that absolute rocket of a left foot shot he had.
Goal of the match day. Yeah, that thing was.
Or sorry, not
That may
not
be
me,
that
not
may be
me,
my
match
favorite
day.
of his goal
Banger.
No, that Philly one's always going to happen for me until he does something more spectacular than that. But that's
It's
a nice one.
his second best goal.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The angle, and that it was rising into the top of the net from that angle. It just like that. It's nearly an impossible goal to strike and hit like that. It was perfect.
I mean, he roofed it.
I don't know.
was
The goal of
roofed
the
it.
chest was beautiful.
Yeah, well, look, his
Eh,
highlight reel for this year, if he continues this up with this pace, like finishing out the season, it's going to be a really fun highlight reel to watch.
Well,
Oh,
before
yeah.
we too deep into that, Tommy, I see that you've joined us. What do you got to say?
Yeah, it was really interesting watching Inter Miami. Yeah, I'm a huge Messi fan, much like a lot of new Inter Miami fans. There's a worry within my brain that we're not gonna make the playoffs, and that bugs me. We're 11 points behind with 2 games in hand, or one to most teams. But yeah, it was really nice seeing them batter Atlanta United 4-0. That was exceptional. That was so great to see. And Cruz Azul. Yeah, that was all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the playoffs. Oh, sorry, Trav.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, the playoffs. We have, we're a couple weeks away from joining back into league play, and I think if you've listened to these chats before, I always try and take a more reserved approach to things. In doing the math, we play a lot of teams in these last 12 games that are ahead of us within that playoff window. And so there's a lot of 6-point games um, in this last final stretch to make the playoffs. You'll find, good breakdowns for how many points typically are needed to get into that 7th, 8th, 9th slot that would make us playoff eligible. I just feel more confident today than I would have felt this time last week about our actual chances of being able to overcome a deficit like that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And the other thing to consider is that, the other thing to consider with all of this is that, to some degree, the playoffs are the league play and is one thing, but what is more important to me is that we get ourselves into a position to get into CONCACAF Champions Cup next
Yeah,
season, CCC. So we start playing international ball,
yeah,
and that this tournament, U.S. Open Cup, are both avenues for us to get there.
yeah,
So I think if we place within, if we get third place in this competition, we qualify.
yeah,
That to me is, next season looking forward, let's take it all.
Yeah.
but let's get into CCC and make sure we qualify for one of those spots.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good perspective to have. But in America, or in those leagues within America, the top 4 leagues, you usually value the league championship inside the nation, and I feel like the MLS Cup may hold more prestige within the Americas, and USA, which means that I value it also, and I want Messi to add on top of his already stacked trophy collection, as well as the team. I do love all the players. I love the goalie. I love Robert Taylor. He's a baller from Finland. That's great. But yeah, I really enjoy listening to this. Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah, I'm not gonna take too much airtime anymore. But thanks.
Yeah, I like it. I really do. I think though, after being here for 3.5 years, while the MLS Cup, yes, is kind of the golden standard, that's all the bragging rights. But I think you would speak to 100 Inter Miami fans, and I think over 90% would put more weight in let's get to the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Let's get that kind of Champions League action. Because yeah, it is an uphill hill to climb to get into the playoffs. Right, we only have to get into that 9th spot. I have been like a broken record over the past month saying that we're not going to make it. To be fair, I thought it was going to take a lot more time for Messi and Busquets to really integrate well with the team, but we are seeing a literal night and day difference with 2 games in hand. And as George, mentioned as well, a lot of the teams we were playing are above us. There are 6-point swings. It is very feasible that we can sneak in the 9th spot. And, I'm not going to put the put the carriage before the horse or whatever, but there is a legit outside line where a treble is actually on the table if we can somehow get into the playoffs, because we're playing very well. And I know that Cruz Azul maybe has been struggling in this early Liga MX season. I know that Atlanta United, while they are above the playoff line, has been struggling a lot. So I'm really looking forward to the real tests that are coming up from the teams that are, in maybe the 5th spot or up. Like if Orlando beats Santos Laguna on Saturday and we play them in the round of 32, I'm really curious to see us play the top talent in the East to see where we really stand. I try to keep myself fairly reserved. I've definitely gotten out of pocket and maybe way overconfident in the team many a times over the past 3.5 years. But, we just really got to get past Cincinnati. I think if we beat Cincinnati in the Open Cup, then there's a very high chance we win the Open Cup and we're in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And then depending on how this whole tournament shakes out, it's going to be the first real test. And the best part is we're only going to get better as the season goes on. So the fact that we get to play an entire tournament, group stages, and not going from group stage to round of 16, but group stage to round of 32, that's just more time for this team to gel and get comfortable with each other. And I think we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg of the potential of this team. It's going to be a really exciting finish to the season. And, most of the real reputable journalists or sports analysts are saying, don't judge Inter Miami this season. It's all about next season. But we can still salvage this season. There's a solid chance we win the Open Cup. There is I feel pretty confident in working our way through the Leagues Cup at this point. So if we can't win the MLS Cup, if we can't win or get into the playoffs, so we can somehow sneak out of the season with 2 well-respected pieces of hardware, then, I'll take that all day, honestly.
I have a question for the 2 of you. I know you guys have been here since 2020. If we make it to the playoffs and we go deep into the playoffs, are people going to look at us like, oh, well, you guys got Messi, that's the only reason it happened?
100
Or 100%?
100%.
Yeah, no,
but to be fair, we've
100
been here since 2019, sir.
Is that a good thing though? 2019. Sorry, I'm maybe a few months late.
I'm just kidding. I love you.
Yeah,
It's a real thing. I mean, I fully expect that to be. I expect that for the next 2.5 years. If he exercises that contract, it's going to be 3.5 years, and everyone's going to be saying, "Oh, they're going to suck when he's gone." But in 2 years from now, if we sign like Neymar, or if we really want to get Trav excited, if we get that boy Anton Griezmann, who I would love to have as well, I
yeah,
think we've started our brand, and I think we can keep this thing rolling. But yeah, there's always going to be that. Oh, the league bent the rules. The league paid for Messi. But on the phone call with Jorge Mas, it wasn't like the MLS paid for everything. Everything was handled without needing to exercise that mechanism. But yes, they're always going to judge. They're going to hate us. We're going to be the most hated team in the league.
but you guys never expected after 2 games to be like, okay, Messi is changing everything.
No, I
No,
thought it was going
Joe,
to take
I
time.
will raise. Yeah, I think when the thought of Messi was coming, and I think it may have been right around when he actually announced, like, we were in the Discord, like, throwing out, what do we expect? And I was like, 10 goal contributions. Not thinking about Leagues Cup, not knowing like kind of like when and where he would be playing. I was like, 10 goal contributions. 4 goals, 6 assists. Like thinking of the last games of the season. I'm stupid. I'm an absolute idiot. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody. I mean, like he's gonna have that in 4 games, and like so, like my expectations were low. But yeah, I mean, like it's
What if he wins
he
MVP?
is
Like, oh wow,
as good as he's been. I mean, right? He only played 12 league games, but he comes in with the most goal contributions, league wide. it's
I'll tell
it's
you,
not it's
I posted somewhere. I was like, we just went from playing soccer to playing football in a week or two.
yeah. I feel like that
Like it's a
2006 Kevin Garnett
totally.
Adidas ad where it's like anything is possible. Like that's how I feel right now. I have no idea where the ceiling is, where the roof is, but I just know we're hovering right above the floor right now.
Yeah, and I mean, what excites me more is that yes, as much as we're going to hear for the next 2.5, 3.5 years that oh, you're only this good because of Lionel Messi. At the
Trav, you
same
there?
time, look at the other moves that are being made.
Yeah, Busquets gets tons of credit.
Well,
Those passes down the middle, I'm sorry, those were never happening before this.
Well, outside of Sergio Busquets, look at the other players Miami's now finally signing. Diego Gomez, Facundo Farias, Tomás Avilés, all of these really really high end players that Miami is now signing and bringing into the squad. Those are just such exciting players to finally bring in and build for not only the now but for the future.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The youth coming here is amazing. I haven't seen a lot of these people play, but I've heard, and I'm expecting a lot, especially with Messi and Busquets on the field.
No, and I mean, now it's been reported Diego Gomez has joined the club. Facundo Farias posted on his Instagram today a goodbye to CA Cologne fans. And today, Miami reached a deal to sign Tomás Avilés from Racing. So Miami's not only just relying on Lionel Messi and Sergio Busquets for minutes and contributions. They've now brought in 3 extremely, extremely, extremely promising young players who will, one, not only get to learn from Lionel Messi and Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba, but they'll get to develop here and we'll get to teach them, from the best that there is, and hopefully hold on to them, or more likely see them make the next big move in their career very soon after.
And make the club a lot of money while they're doing it too. If we sell these players off to Europe, then we can make a hefty bag.
Yeah, I spoke to one of.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jose.
Oh, I was just gonna say, this is kind of like the dual pipeline of like what, as you were saying earlier, Jay, like what this team was promised to be, is this is hopefully the first wave of bringing in not just, top level stars that are still either in their prime or right outside of their prime, but, the most world-class players that we can, but also creating the pipeline to draw the talent from other regions, in as youths to develop them here and sell them on while we also are developing kids out of our academy. So, like, that kind of, like, three-headed monster approach, I think, if this succeeds, if we develop, Farias and Gomez and Alves, and under Messi, and we can kind of create a cycle where this becomes a thing that a destination that these players want to come and play, we could really be rolling, for the next 5-10 years, and really become a juggernaut.
Bro, we're gonna win the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and we're gonna win the FIFA World Club Cup. All right, mark my words.
I spoke to one of
I
the
will attend
parents.
it with you.
I spoke to one of the parents. I spoke to one of the parents of the younger kids that are on our team. I'm not going to say who, and they were like, just the fact that we have Messi teaching him certain things, like, is amazing. And I totally understand that as one of the older people in the Discord. Like, it really is like having your kid being on the field with Messi and Busquets for free. They're getting taught to be one of the. It's crazy.
It is.
If I had a guess, it's probably Dominican Messi.
No, I think I know who it is, but I won't say anything. But well, and here's saying, it's widely reported that Messi is going to get a stake in the club, and he's going to be here. So these kids in the academy that maybe are 12, 13, 14 right now that won't be training with the first team to get the Messi experience now. Well, if he's a part owner of this team and he's around and visits the academy, he can still pass that knowledge on. This isn't just a 2.5, potentially 3-year thing. I mean, the impact of this could be to last our lives. I mean, if he's getting a healthy portion of this club, and you got David and Beck outside of even the maybe teaching the kids some tricks or two, right? But you've got David Beckham and Leo Messi hopping on private jets and recruiting whoever they want in the world. Like, that's a tough sell. That is amazing.
No, and I mean, that's a great point. Leo Messi isn't going to only be here for 2.5 to 3.5 years. He's going to own part of this club. And, as with any owner of a business, you want to continue to grow it as much as you can. So, signings like these, young U22 players, and, even these players from the academy, like, David Ruiz, Benja Kramaski, Eddie Escona, Ian Frey, Noah Allen, all of these guys are huge to really see develop, because they are the future of this club, and they are the future of the club's value and what they can do in terms of sales, both here and abroad. In the future, and potentially sooner than that. Benja Kramaski had European and Bundesliga clubs looking at him earlier this season. Imagine if he goes on a tear with Lionel Messi in the midfield. We could lose him as early as next year if that happens.
Yeah, and and the talent pool isn't going to dry up over time, right? I mean, it's South Florida has been recognized as this kind of untapped potential for talent, and what we're seeing now is the Argentinian Federation opening up shop here. Barcelona has opened up academies here. This is becoming a place that you know the eyes of the world are on for young players. And so making sure that, we develop guys like Benja and David and Ian and Noah, and get them to the next step, and we become that kind of pipeline, we'll kind of be able to fence off at least some of the top talent to retain them into our system to then become kind of a feeder to, the bigger leagues in the world. At least that's the hope, without, the Barca Academy poaching those guys, at the U12, U13, level. Like, get them in our academy now and start developing them and turning them out just makes that decision so much easier once we've created the pathway.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree, and it's just the future is so bright, and finally the now is super bright as well. So it's going to be just so exciting to see what Miami can do both now and in the future. But on the topic of youngins joining the club, Facundo Farias is regarded as one of the most promising young players that's joining the club. And as the Athletic just reported, oh, it's expected that his position for the club will be left wing. He can also play center attacking mid. But with just the revival of Robert Taylor, how likely do we think it is that a player like Facundo Farias, who, despite all of his promise, can come in and unseat Robert Taylor, who's just been on probably one of the best tears there is these past two matches?
Slow down. He had 2 good games. 2.
And
We gotta
Facundo Farias
slow.
had none for the club. So step out of line and I'll mute you here too.
It doesn't matter if it's only been 2 games. If he continues to contribute at this rate, then he stays in his spot. That's all. That's the way I see it.
I just want to take this
Yeah,
moment
I
real
mean, I
quick if I
think that
can, since Contra's here. I'm going to go ahead and be the bigger man and say I was wrong on Sergio Busquets being washed, all right? I'm going to put that on the record. I'm just going to get this over with.
Wait.
And I'm just going to –
Wait.
no more. Don't look for more, dude. I'm giving you all I can give you right now, okay?
No, that's it. I'm happy.
Here's the thing. I will not apologize to him because I'm going to throw his same argument he just used back at him. So it's been 2 games. Sergio Busquets looked great in his 30 minutes against Cruz Azul, but he looked shaky at times against Atlanta.
Did we concede a goal?
Facts.
He put it literally to the foot of Thiago Almada, who
Did he score a goal?
Maybe a couple of inches wide. He looked shaky. He gave up the ball in front of our own net multiple times, and was shaky, and especially struggled as the match went on, and as the heat got to him. Yes, he's had some very bright moments, but at the same time, Sergio Busquets has had a couple of hairy moments, especially in that Atlanta match.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I think he's still in preseason mode. That's how I see it. Same with Messi.
Yo, if this is Messi in preseason mode,
this guy's just arrived, man. It just arrived to the team. I think Busquets hasn't played since May?
Yeah, it's been a while. He fits in a possession-based system. He's always been used to Araujo and Barcelona covering him,
I'm
now he's gonna have, like MLS nobodies, McNuggets, Christopher McVeigh. Oh my God, that foul! Oh my God. Anyway, they're gonna have him covering Busquets, so it's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve. Like these people are just not gonna be as high level as he's used to. So it's still a learning curve.
Well, the midfield's only going to get better. I mean, we still have Gregore trying to make his way back, and we got Mota as well, the Brazilian duo. I mean, I'm not sure if they're going to be back next year. I think probably maybe Mota might be done. Hopefully not, but our midfield's even going to improve further.
They're about 2 months out, so there's a chance we see him at the very end of the season. If we make a run in the playoffs, we might have him, full capacity. Honestly, both of them.
What's the timeline on Gregory?
Both
he's on the
both
roster.
are about 2 months.
I
think it was MLS or Inter Miami Hub. Someone he was sitting in the box seat and spoke with them both. They both said 2 months, but he said they both looked a lot healthier than what he was expecting. I think that we've heard timelines potentially within like 4 weeks or something like that. They are exercising. When I was at the training session, what was that? The Monday after Leo's debut. Mota was out there running sprints, and they're trying to get back. So I would put it realistically somewhere between 1 month to 2 months.
Gregory's a big piece,
and I think that it was a little bit of a press release answer from them to say 2 months versus. I think Gregory's back by the end of August. He's picked it up in training. He's picked it up in the weight room. He's ahead of schedule by a fair amount of time.
But is that
Jean Mota,
75% or?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm probably going to get at, Joe. Is we don't need to rush them back because we have Arroyo's playing well.
Yeah, we have.
Busquets is here. Like I'd rather take the time with it than re-aggravate the injury in case we need them later on towards the end of the season, or if all works out, we can somehow sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that Miami finally has the luxury of not rushing them back and not saying okay, like we badly need Gregory back, because right now we don't. Dixon Arroyo's proved to be perfectly serviceable. Sergio Busquets is Sergio Busquets when he's having a good match, and we don't need them back tomorrow. They're not going to make or break the season for us as much as they would have earlier in the season when they both went down.
But I'll say this, the kind of value added by having a Gregory, come in and replace Arroyo, I don't even know if we can fully measure it right now. Because what we've seen is this team play well against definitely an inferior opponent in Atlanta, right? Like the talent on the field for us was superior purely to that of Atlanta's. We struggled against Cruz Azul before Sergio and Messi stepped on the pitch. What are we going to look like when we face a Seattle, an LAFC, a Cincinnati? I think when we start talking about making a push for silverware, we're going to have to overcome some of those, those tougher matchups within the league to do it. And I don't really think we fully grasp where we're at as a squad just yet in comparison to those other teams. So getting Gregory back, I think really would help in solidifying the defense even more so than just having to rely on Dixon Arroyo, who has been very serviceable and has been a good player, and I appreciate what he does. But Gregory's a better player.
I agree with
And
you.
Yeah, I don't want.
He's a better player by miles.
I don't want to get yelled at, but I feel like a lot of it is shock value. I mean, you're talking about MLS teams that are playing against Messi, and they're on the field, and you could kind of tell that they don't want to touch him too hard, or, I mean, nobody wants to injure Messi. But eventually it's going to get to the point where it's like, all right, well, we need to pressure him. We need to hurt him.
I think that depends on the team. I think the further along we go, the tougher opponent it is. It's going to be an even tighter defense going up against
I
them.
think Orlando
I
might be trying to take a chunk out of him as well. And given the amount of injuries we've seen to key players this season, we're already at 5. There's very well a chance that someone else is getting injured. So Gregory and Moto would be highly serviceable.
We have the luxury of depth, something that we haven't had in ever.
Well, we
Right?
still,
Not yet. We hopefully will
we
have
still
the
don't have.
luxury of depth.
A couple weeks. It's so quiet in here.
So Orlando, I mean, if we play Orlando, that's the main game. I mean, we're Miami. We have to beat Orlando.
Well, especially after, this week's Orlando's, vandalism of an Inter Miami mural.
Yeah, I was going to mention.
How much does that turn up the temperature ahead of a potential meeting next week?
Was it provoked? We didn't provoke them or anything like that. They just came out of nowhere.
Right?
No,
I'm
in the supporters group. I don't want to deal with that bullshit.
I mean, I'm all for the smoke, but I sit in the East Stand, so I'm good.
I just love that there is, as with anything,
there has always been
that is caught on camera, that there are theories out there that this is a false flag operation, that my city did it to themselves.
Yeah,
and
no,
I'm just like,
I'm not putting my tin hat on. It's, I mean,
yeah, that's horseshit.
They wrote Florida is purple in the corner of the mural, and you could tell it's a different shade. So it's a spray can or spray paint bottle for sure. But like either A, they made the quick 3.5-4 hour drive down just because they had nothing better to do that weekend, which I could see, or B, like I don't think people realize exactly there are Orlando City fans that live down here, that are passionate. Just because they're in Miami or South Florida proper doesn't mean that they're an Inter Miami fan. So,
Maybe visiting. I don't know.
yeah,
Don't
I do
send
want
Jay
to.
any
I do want
hate
to.
mail.
I do want to ask Tata about it in this next presser. Before the game, I definitely pissed off a whole lot of Orlando City fans today, and
Yes, you.
I just
They're everywhere
What
today.
did you do, Jay? I missed it. Tell us what you did.
Nothing. I just made a post about it. I said, let me find it just so I can get in-state rivals Orlando City vandalized a Messi mural in Miami, and I said, keep in mind, just last year Orlando was caught cheating and spying on a second division team because they couldn't win the honest way. Just kind of making fun of them for spying on a minor league team just so they could win their first Open Cup. It's at 110,000 views right now with
Oh Jesus!
a very heated comment section. Both I've seen funny comments on both sides. There's been a lot of hostility. We have reiterated we do not condone violence. We have reiterated again, re-commenting on it, that let's just keep it at a rivalry banter and nothing more, because there's a very high chance that Orlando beats Santos Laguna, and we're playing them on August 2nd at home, and we all know how these games go. Yes, we're both two of the newer teams in the league, but that is becoming a very bitter blood feud.
Yes. And this is the point where you say, like and subscribe to the Inter Miami podcast. Make sure you guys are following all the time.
I was just driving to
wanna
work listening to Stir It Up, by Bob Marley. Stir it up.
Yeah. And Jay, you minced words while, my retweet turned around and said, when I say this, I mean it. Fuck Orlando.
Yeah.
Bro just has. You just go at it. You just boom.
No, I agree. Fuck Orlando.
But no, Matt, you're right, because I'm trying to be as
you're being the middleman. You're being
and, professional,
all nice.
But then Trav just comes in and drops the hammer, and I'm like, well, I can control the
18-wheeler
views of
just
the main
straight
page.
through.
I'm not going to be a dictator. I'm not going to censor the Pod Squad or anybody that helps contribute to the Inter Miami podcast. Everyone is free to think their own words, but yeah, I couldn't retweet Travis, but I've caught a little chuckle on the inside.
We do have the better Facundo. If you really look into it, you could start that. We do have the better Facundo than they do.
Well, what's funny too is that's now
the chance.
That's the second controversial tweet I've put out in as many days. So,
yeah,
Jay, you may want to censor me a little bit.
I don't know. I don't like to control things. I'm just hoping that there are no serious incidents of violence. I'm already know what the majority of the chants are going to be, and it's going to be an interesting game. And like I said earlier, I'm really curious of what we can do to the remaining, the rest of the top 5, top 7 teams. Everyone knows Atlanta's been struggling, but Orlando would be a fairly good test, but the NYCFC, the Cincinnati game, and the Open Cup. These are going to be the real challenges. This is where we're going to be able to see where we are right now, but keep in mind, there's still a lot of room to improve as everyone meshes together with our new signings.
Oh, I have a question to ask all of you. I asked this, I think, a couple weeks ago. Chances we win U.S. Open Cup or the game against Cincinnati? It was one of those questions. Do any of you want to change your percentage chance?
What were the original ones? Do you remember? Did you write them down?
Trav said 60. George said 50. You said 30. I said 50. And I think that's it.
I said 30? That seems pretty low.
Point out.
No, Trav said 60.
No, I said 30?
Numbers.
Yeah, you said 30. 30, 35, something like that. You said pretty low. He wanted to be the realist.
35% chance we sign Messi. That's what I've been saying for 6 months now. Oh, all right. Well, I'll give you a rebranded answer. I'm going to also claim that I don't remember that and that you're just making this up. If you don't mind, if I take that route to feel better about myself,
That's fine.
I'm gonna go 75% chance. I mean, I think we've been playing well. A lot of these games, we're not getting blown out. You can tell that the injuries have affected us. With when we had Gregory and Moto together, we were playing a lot better. So I've always thought we were just, a couple pieces off, or maybe even just one piece off, being a much more competitive team. Um, so yeah, I'll give it a 75% chance because I think Cincinnati is the hardest team in the remaining four. RSL's having a great year, but like I'm not worried about Houston. So I think as long as we can beat Cincinnati, I think whoever wins the Cincinnati Inter Miami game is going to win the Open Cup.
Hey,
That's my
don't
honest
sleep on
opinion.
Chicho Arango. All right, you can't sleep on that guy.
That is fair. They did get a solid reinforcement, and I am low key a Chicho fan.
And Diego Luna, who's been on a tear since the U.S. U20 World Cup.
But we've been on a tear since last Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Ooh.
Yeah, we have. So Matthew, I am going to keep my answer the same. We're talking about, at least if you're asking me today, how I feel about it, I think it's a coin flip. We're talking about the best team in the league who's dominating at home. They haven't lost a game all season, and we're going to be going up there into hostile territory. We're not sure how many road games this team is going to play before that match. That could be the first road game for Messi and Busquets and Farias and all of these new players. Like, hopefully it's not, but that's not necessarily how I would like to start our first away match, is going into Cincinnati, for a semifinal matchup in the Open Cup.
But it is a
So
month away. It is a month
it is
They're
a
away.
month.
winning.
It is a month
They're
away.
winning right
Even
now
better.
against Chivas, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, listen, they're a formidable opponent. I'm not going to. If you ask me the week before the match, it's possible that I will give it a much higher percentage chance. If this team continues to play the way that they are. But I am still trying to get. I'm planning on being there for the game that day. So hopefully, I walk in feeling super confident and walk out feeling really, really happy. Um, but yeah, I think it's too soon for me to feel like a change in my answer is appropriate.
I'd give it a 65%. We just, all the new players that are coming in just now, they're crazy talented. And I like my chances. I like my chances now. 65% I give it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to stay at, 60 to 70%. I think Cincy is probably one of the most well-built squads in MLS this year. And, yes, we have Lionel Messi, Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, and all the new young guys. But that Cincy team has just been on a tear this year. And they look fantastic, and they're playing fantastic. And playing away at Cincy. Cincy has a fantastic atmosphere, a fantastic stadium. The question for them will be, can they keep up that atmosphere in that stadium with the inevitably large amount of fans that will be there in not only Lionel Messi Inter Miami kits, but in just Lionel Messi kits and not necessarily there for FC Cincinnati. That's going to be my biggest question for them and for their atmosphere. And, if they can get past that, then, yeah, they're an extremely strong and formidable opponent.
How much are tickets going for now? Because I've been meaning to get back home to
To
Louisville, which is
Cincy,
an
like three
hour
Like
away.
100. It's like $100 now. Is it 108? Something like that.
Cincy
I
game
haven't
or
I haven't looked in the last few days, but when I looked on, it would have been like Saturday. I was seeing like upper bowl tickets for like $350. So if you wanted to get lower bowl, it was like $850 per. And I'm trying not to spend $2,000 for 2 tickets, but depending on how things go, I'm keeping an eye on it. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Potentially, if the if the club releases supporter group, away supporter group tickets, maybe I can grab a couple that way as well.
Yeah, I need to go see mom and dad. That's how I feel. I'm not going to drop 800 on it. Sorry, I got 2 kids, but if we can find something legit, you guys keep me posted, and maybe we can crash at my house.
I got 3 kids, man. I don't have time for that either.
It's tough. It's tough out here.
Yeah, well, my wife is very upset that I'm leaving, that I'm gonna drive 4 hours midweek to go to a game, spend the night, and then come back the next day. She's not happy about it, but these are the things that I had to do some stuff to get the approval for this.
Well, while you're in Cincy, it's the most underrated city in the U.S. Better than New York City.
Get the fuck out of here!
Oh my god!
Every time, this is worse. This take is almost as bad as your Indiana Vassalov take.
Well,
they're awful takes.
Founded too. And Matthew, don't say anything. You don't like New York City either. But
what a bum.
You got to go get some of those duck fries in downtown Cincy. Just an absolute delicacy, and enjoy it. It's a great walk to the match there from their downtown area. The people of Cincy are fantastic, and it's going to be an absolutely amazing atmosphere.
Downtown Cincy does slap. Can't confirm.
Thank you.
Has the best Art Deco bar in the country.
I went to some country bar. I went to Red's opening day with some friends. What was it like? I don't know. It was Alan Jackson. It was some famous country singer. It was a dope time. I didn't like country like that.
Well, when I went there, I was grabbing dinner at some bar that had like the famous duck fries, and I'm in Inter Miami gear and gonna walk to the match afterwards, and just fantastic people. I mean, I ran into a guy there, and we talked. He bought me a round of drinks, bought me some duck fries. Just great city. It's mad underrated. Anybody listening, I highly recommend going to Cincinnati. Great city.
Yeah, I
so
concur.
Just a quick off-topic question. What's the general thought about cruise ships? Do you guys enjoy going on cruise ships?
Oh, God, no. Maybe I shouldn't go too deep into this because Royal Caribbean is now a sponsor of Inter Miami. But you could not pay me to go on a cruise ship.
I love cruise ships.
No,
it is the most thoughtless, just like brain dump, do whatever you want, not give a shit about life kind of relaxation, and that is perfect for me. Like, I love traveling, I love going and seeing places, but like if I don't have to think for 5 days, that's just that.
But that's anywhere in the Caribbean.
Chef's kiss. That's true too. Yeah, that's also. But
I love the Caribbean. I'm a pirate. I travel. I go to the Caribbean as much as I possibly can.
I agree.
Go
on a cruise.
Throw an umbrella in my drink.
If you can go to like Cuba, like I've been to Cuba, it's beautiful. Rum bottles for fucking $7. It's amazing.
Good old pack of Cuban cigars, just
yeah. All for
it. Oh, I miss those.
But to get back on track, and as we begin to wrap up here, we have a question. Have we talked about how Josef Martinez still can't score and how Tata Martino is not wanting to play Lionel Messi and Leo Campana at the same time? So, yes, Josef Martinez out of that front three is the only one not to score yet. He had a goal disallowed against Cruz Azul because Messi was offside. But, he still looked good. It was his dummy that allowed Messi to score a second goal against Atlanta. He's making good runs between the lines. Josef Martinez seems to be revitalized, and the goals will come. As for the Messi Campana combo, this one baffles me, guys. I do not know why Leo Campana hasn't gotten a single minute on the field at the same time as Leo Messi. That one just baffles me.
I would say it's a very small sample size we're going off here. We're only 2 games in. Let's give it time. If this is the case after, say, 4 games, 5 games, then yeah, there might be something there. But could just be tactical lineup of what Tata's trying to do. I think at some point we're bound to see Campana and Leah together.
Yeah, I agree with Jay on that point, 100%. I think it's, we're talking, 110, 112 minutes of total play, with Messi on the field. So it is too soon to tell. I think it's obvious that there is, a connection between Joseph and Messi and their style of play and patterns of play. But as far as, Joseph's execution, I thought he looked much better in the Cruz Azul game than he did in the Atlanta game. I think the balls that were getting played into him in that Cruz Azul game put him in better positions to score. I think he only had the one shot that he rifled from the left side of the box over the goal in the Atlanta game, but he has looked more goal dangerous than he has in the last 3-4 months of the season. And the combination play between him and Messi has been really impressive. I mean, that little flick that Messi played to him in the run up to, I think it was was it Robbie Taylor's goal? Or maybe it was Messi's second goal.
Yeah, I know what you're
Flick
talking about.
that flick
That
was
little
just
interplay was beautiful. It really was.
yeah, yeah,
Sublime.
and so and I don't think Campana necessarily provides that for Messi, but I definitely believe that they can combine together. But that kind of combination play is special to watch, and they clearly are on the same page.
But we did
I'm
see that with Campana and Martinez. I mean, almost like it was too much. Like someone just needed to take the shot. But they
Right.
both, I think, have a little bit better understanding and kind of quick 1-2 passes. Better than I think a lot of people give them credit for.
I'm going to disagree. I think that that rebound goal that Messi got, I think Joseph was set up to score that goal, but he kind of just stopped, thinking that Messi was going to score, and Messi kept going. Joseph was right there for that goal.
Yeah, but
If you watch it on the
gonna? I mean, I feel like everyone on the pitch that's not named Messi is probably under the assumption like Messi's going to take the shot.
Yeah,
like I don't.
But a Joseph should, just from the talent, sheer talent, like he should be there for the rebound.
No,
I disagree.
I mean, I agree. I think Post is best as a poacher right now. And moving forward with a player like Lionel Messi on the pitch, I think that if he was better set up and a little bit more aware, he would have gotten to that rebound. But at the same time, I feel like he saw Lionel Messi take the shot, saw that Messi continued his run even after he took the shot, and was like, "Well, there's no way in hell I'm going to steal a goal from Lionel Messi." That if he did that, he may have been able to go home that night. But on that note, we'll begin to wrap up here. Any last thoughts, George?
Just that I'm excited. I'm excited and a little disappointed that we have to wait until Wednesday next week to watch this team play again, but excited that, by the time Wednesday comes around, we'll have a little bit more clarity as far as some of these new arrivals. Hopefully they'll be training, and maybe we'll get a chance to see them play with the squad come Wednesday night. But yeah, just excited and really grateful to be here in this community with this fan base, supporting this club, and that all of the pain and the suffering is starting to pay off. And that's great. Like the misery loves company is what this pod community and the Discord community has kind of been built off of, and to enjoy this moment with all of you is really special.
Yeah, I mean, I I fully agree. It's been an amazing ride, and now we're truly seeing the fruits of the labor of the club, and the labor of our love and commitment to the club. So it's really nice to see that all kind of finally pay off in a really big way. So I'm really excited for what the future holds. Like you mentioned, Inter Miami plays next on Wednesday, August 2nd, against the winner of Group South 2. Yes, I know that's a bit weird. Miami's Group 3 South, is the only group that plays a winner of another group, regardless of if they come in first or second. Miami is hosting that match, and if Miami advances past this match, they will, more likely than not, unless they face FC Dallas, also host in the round of 16 matchup. But for now, Miami does have to get past either Orlando, Houston, or Santos Laguna to advance to that round of 16. And we will know our opponent on Saturday night when Orlando City or the Tiny Kitties United play Santos Laguna to decide the winner of that group. Jay, any final thoughts, final words?
No, I mean, you guys summed it up perfectly, and I'm right in line with George. Like, this is what makes it all worth it, right? All the suffering, everything, and I really hope that everything works out. I would love to play. I guess I'm gonna start calling them, Banksy City. I can't wait to play our little street artists, little brothers up to the north. I really want this lineup. I know there have been several people that said, they don't want to play Orlando. They'd much rather play Santos, and that's fair. Like, I understand, like, Santos is not as good of a team, but man, given everything, given the storyline of this game, that's what I want to see. But just hang in there, guys. It's gonna be a hell of a finish to the season.
Yeah,
Just happy it's all working out finally.
Yeah, I fully agree. Well, on that note, thank you again to everybody for joining us for this week's episode of Trav Chats. You can catch this recorded version live on the Inter Miami podcast, on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. It'll be up, first thing the morning or afternoon following when we record. If this is your first time listening, Trav Chats, we record live on Twitter Spaces every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check us out and check out the Inter Miami podcast at Inter MIA podcast on Twitter. Check out myself at IMCFTraveller, my great co-host at Jorge DTA, both on Twitter, and give us a like and give us a follow, and just so many more great things are to come. On that note, we will end this Trav Chat the way that we end every single Trav Chat, with a good old Vamos Miami.
Vamos Miami.
Vamos, Miami.
Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great day.